Hi there. Thank you for being here. Today's story is deeply personal. It's about pain, but also about power. It's about what happens when trauma doesn't break you, but instead rewires you into someone even stronger. The title of this story is PTSD Didn't Ruin Me: How Trauma Rewired My Brain for Resilience. Let's begin. Dr. Aris Thorne, a name whispered with a mixture of awe and quiet reverence within the halls of the Institute for Traumatic Stress Studies, wasn't your typical clinician. He wasn't defined by the sterile white coat or the detached demeanor often associated with his profession. No, Aris was defined by the invisible scars he carried, a silent testament to battles fought and won, not on battlefields, but within the labyrinthine corridors of his own mind. His journey, etched in every line of his weathered face and reflecting in the deep empathy in his eyes, was one of brutal confrontation with PTSD and ultimately triumphant emergence, not merely unscathed, but irrevocably, powerfully transformed. Aris didn't just understand PTSD theoretically. He lived it. It had been a relentless, unwelcome guest in his life since his tour of duty in the war-torn region of Xylos. Xylos, once a vibrant land of ancient traditions and stunning landscapes, had been reduced to rubble and chaos by a brutal civil war fueled by greed and ideological extremism. Aris, a fresh-faced medic barely out of his training, had arrived with idealistic notions of healing and alleviating suffering. He left carrying the weight of countless deaths, the echoes of desperate cries, and the indelible images of human cruelty. The initial symptoms manifested subtly, insidious cracks in the facade of normalcy. Sleepless nights plagued by vivid nightmares of the wounded soldiers he couldn't save, the faces of the innocent civilians caught in the crossfire. Days were punctuated by intrusive thoughts, relentless replays of traumatic events, each more harrowing than the last. He found himself increasingly irritable, withdrawing from friends and family, preferring the numbing solitude of his apartment to the comforting embrace of human connection. He self-medicated, a dangerous dance with alcohol and prescription painkillers, seeking oblivion from the relentless torment. His downward spiral accelerated unchecked until a particularly harrowing incident forced him to confront the reality of his situation. He was driving home from a late shift at the hospital when a sudden car backfire triggered a full-blown flashback. He was back in Xylos, amidst the deafening roar of artillery fire, the acrid smell of burning flesh, the panicked screams of the wounded. He slammed on the brakes, abandoning his car in the middle of the road, collapsing onto the asphalt, writhing in agony as the memories overwhelmed him. That night marked a turning point. After being picked up by the police and undergoing a psychiatric evaluation, Aris received the official diagnosis: post-traumatic stress disorder. The label, while terrifying, was also a validation. It meant he wasn't simply weak or broken. He was suffering from a legitimate condition, one that could be treated. The road to recovery was arduous, a relentless climb up a seemingly insurmountable mountain. He began intensive therapy, confronting the horrific memories he had desperately tried to bury. He engaged in cognitive processing therapy, CPT, meticulously dissecting his traumatic experiences, challenging the negative thought patterns that perpetuated his suffering. He underwent eye movement desensitization and reprocessing EMDR therapy, a controversial but ultimately effective technique that helped him process and integrate the traumatic memories. Aris vividly remembered his first EMDR session. He was skeptical, bordering on dismissive. The idea that moving his eyes back and forth could somehow alleviate the trauma he had endured seemed absurd. But desperation had worn down his defenses, and he was willing to try anything. As he followed the therapist's finger, recounting the horrors he had witnessed, he felt a strange disconnect, as if he were watching a movie of his own life. The intensity of the emotions began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of detachment, of distance. It was a slow, gradual process, but over time, The traumatic memories began to lose their power, their ability to trigger the overwhelming emotional and physiological responses that had plagued him for so long. Alongside therapy, Aris embraced a holistic approach to healing. He rediscovered the solace of nature, spending hours hiking in the mountains, finding peace in the solitude of the wilderness. He started practicing mindfulness meditation, learning to quiet the relentless chatter of his mind, to be present in the moment, to accept his thoughts and feelings without judgment. He adopted a healthy diet, nourishing his body with wholesome foods, recognizing the profound connection between physical and mental well-being. He started practicing yoga, finding release in the gentle stretches and deep breathing exercises, reconnecting with his body after years of feeling disconnected and alienated. He also found solace and support in a veteran support group. Sharing his experiences with others who had faced similar traumas was incredibly validating. He discovered that he wasn't alone in his suffering, that others understood the unique challenges he faced. The group became a lifeline, a safe space where he could be vulnerable, where he could share his pain without fear of judgment. He learned coping strategies from his peers, and he, in turn, offered his own insights and support. However, Aris's journey wasn't just about healing from trauma. It was about transforming it. He began to explore the concept of post-traumatic growth, PTG, the idea that individuals who experience trauma can emerge stronger, more resilient, and more psychologically healthy than they were before the trauma. He delved into the research, discovering that PTG is often characterized by 5 key areas: an increased appreciation for life, improved relationships, a sense of personal strength, new possibilities, and spiritual growth. He started to see his experience in Xylos not just as a source of pain and suffering, but also as a catalyst for growth. He had witnessed the worst of humanity, but he had also witnessed incredible acts of courage, compassion, and resilience. He had learned the value of human connection, the importance of living in the present moment, and the power of the human spirit to overcome adversity. He realized that his PTSD, while a profound challenge, had also given him a unique perspective, an unparalleled ability to empathize with others who were suffering. He decided to dedicate his life to helping others heal from trauma. He went back to school, earned his doctorate in clinical psychology, and specialized in the treatment of PTSD. He joined the Institute for Traumatic Stress Studies, a renowned research and treatment center dedicated to advancing the understanding and treatment of trauma. He quickly distinguished himself as a compassionate and highly effective clinician. His patients, many of whom were veterans struggling with PTSD, were drawn to his authenticity, his genuine empathy, and his unwavering belief in their ability to heal. Aris's approach to therapy was unique. He didn't just rely on traditional therapeutic techniques. He incorporated his own personal experiences and insights into his practice. He shared his own struggles with PTSD, not to make the therapy about him, but to let his patients know that he understood what they were going through, that he had been there too. He emphasized the importance of self-compassion, encouraging his patients to treat themselves with the same kindness and understanding they would offer a friend. He helped them identify their strengths and resources, empowering them to take an active role in their own recovery. One of his most challenging cases was Sarah, a young woman who had been sexually assaulted during her freshman year of college. Sarah was plagued by severe anxiety, depression, and nightmares. She felt ashamed and isolated, convinced that she was somehow responsible for what had happened to her. She had attempted suicide several times and was deeply distrustful of therapists. Aris approached Sarah with patience, compassion, and unwavering respect. He didn't push her to talk about the assault until she was ready. He focused on building trust, creating a safe space where she could express her feelings without fear of judgment. He used a variety of therapeutic techniques, including cognitive processing therapy and trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, to help her process the trauma and challenge the negative beliefs that were perpetuating her suffering. He also encouraged her to engage in self-care activities, such as yoga, meditation, and spending time in nature. He helped her connect with a support group for survivors of sexual assault, where she found validation and support from others who had experienced similar traumas. The turning point in Sarah's therapy came when Aris shared his own story of overcoming PTSD. He told her about his experiences in Xylos, the horrors he had witnessed, and the challenges he had faced in his own recovery. He let her know that he understood the pain she was going through, that he had been there too. For the first time, Sarah felt truly understood. She realized that she wasn't alone in her suffering, that others had overcome similar traumas. She began to trust Aris, to believe that she too could heal. Over time, Sarah made remarkable progress. She started to challenge the negative beliefs that had been holding her back. She began to reclaim her life, to pursue her goals and dreams. She became an advocate for other survivors of sexual assault, sharing her story to inspire hope and reduce stigma. Sarah's transformation was a testament to the power of therapy, the resilience of the human spirit, and the profound impact that one person can have on another. It was also a validation of Aris's own journey, a reminder that his suffering had not been in vain, that it had given him the ability to help others heal. Aris's work at the Institute extended beyond clinical practice. He was also a dedicated researcher, conducting studies on the neurobiological effects of trauma and the effectiveness of different treatment approaches. He was particularly interested in exploring the potential of innovative therapies, such as virtual reality exposure therapy and neurofeedback, to enhance the treatment of PTSD. He was also a passionate advocate for trauma-informed care, working to educate healthcare professionals, educators, and policymakers about the impact of trauma and the importance of creating systems and environments that are sensitive to the needs of trauma survivors. He believed that everyone, regardless of their background or profession, should be aware of the potential impact of trauma and be equipped to respond in a supportive and compassionate manner. Aris's journey from a traumatized soldier to a renowned clinician and researcher was a testament to the transformative power of resilience. He had faced unimaginable horrors, but he had not allowed them to define him. He had used his experiences to fuel his passion for helping others heal, to create a ripple effect of hope and healing in the world. He often reflected on the words of the ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus, "The only constant is change." He realized that trauma had indeed changed him, irrevocably. But it had not ruined him. It had rewired him. It had made him stronger, more compassionate, and more resilient. It had given him a purpose, a calling, to help others navigate the treacherous terrain of trauma and emerge, not just as survivors, but as thrivers, transformed by the very experiences that had threatened to destroy them. His life was a living testament to the fact that PTSD didn't have to be a life sentence. It could be a catalyst for profound personal growth, a gateway to a life of purpose, meaning, and resilience. And that was a message he was determined to share with the world. The knowledge he acquired, combined with his personal strength, became a beacon of hope, guiding countless individuals through their darkest times. His life proved that although pain is inevitable, suffering is a choice, and resilience is the key to unlocking a brighter future. He dedicated his life to spreading this message, becoming a symbol of hope and healing for people all around the world. He transformed from a victim of circumstance to a warrior of resilience, forever impacting lives with his strength and wisdom. And so, the journey of Dr. Aris Thorne continues, an ongoing testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. Thank you so much for listening. If this story touched something in you, you're not alone. Healing from trauma isn't a straight path, but as Aris showed us, it is possible, not just to survive, but to grow, to transform pain into purpose. If you or someone you love is struggling with PTSD, Please know there is hope. Reach out. Speak up. The road is hard, but you don't have to walk it alone. If this message resonated with you, consider sharing it with someone who might need it. And if you haven't yet, subscribe for more real stories of healing, resilience, and transformation. Until next time, stay kind, stay strong, and never underestimate the power of your own story.